You got what you wanted, and it was not enough. You already know exactly what I mean. The job you worked toward for 2 years, the relationship you finally got right, the number in your bank account you told yourself would change everything. You got it. And within days, sometimes hours, the wanting came back. Different object, same hunger. And here is the thing nobody will say to you directly. That is not going to stop. Not when you get the next thing. Not when you fix the next problem. Not when you finally arrive at whatever you have decided arrival looks like. The hunger does not end. It finds a new object. A German philosopher named Arthur Schopenhauer published a book in 1818, over 200 years ago, that explains exactly why this is happening to you. He called it the most fundamental fact of human existence. The internet found half of it, posted it everywhere, and stopped reading. The half they missed is the only part that actually matters. Here is what he saw. Beneath every desire you have ever had, every goal, every craving, every restless feeling at 2 a.m. is a force. He called it the will, not your will, not a choice you made. A blind, purposeless, insatiable force, moving through you the way gravity moves through matter. It does not care what you want. It does not care what you think. It does not care what you decide. It wants, always, without end, without purpose, without satisfaction. And here is the trap. Desire arises from lack, which means desire is suffering. Not pain exactly, a specific incompleteness, the feeling that something is missing, that you are not yet where you need to be, that life has not properly begun. So you pursue the object. You get it. The lack is filled for a moment. And then, immediately, a new lack appears. New desire, new suffering. Or, if nothing new appears, boredom, which Schopenhauer said is its own form of suffering, the sensation of the emptiness of existence, the feeling when the will has nothing to reach for and turns on itself. He called it the pendulum. Life swings like a pendulum, backwards and forwards, between pain and boredom. Pain when you do not have what you want. Boredom when you do. No stable ground, no arrival point, no version of getting enough. That ends the cycle. Now stop. Before you use this as a reason to give up, understand something important. Schopenhauer was not describing your failure. He was describing the structure of existence itself. The most successful people alive are on the same pendulum, the wealthiest, the most admired, the most accomplished. Wealth is like seawater, he wrote. The more we drink, the thirstier we become. The billionaire chasing the next acquisition, the athlete chasing the next record, the influencer chasing the next milestone. Same pendulum, different object. The pendulum does not stop when you win. It speeds up. And here is what should genuinely disturb you about 2026. The entire architecture of modern life, the economy, the attention economy, the social media feed, the streaming platform, the dating app, is not trying to stop the pendulum. It is engineered, deliberately, to accelerate it. Every system around you is designed to produce desire, satisfy it just enough to keep you present, and immediately produce a new one. The scroll has no end. The feed refreshes. The next episode plays automatically. The next product arrives tomorrow. You are not failing to stop the pendulum. You are living inside a machine specifically engineered to keep it swinging faster every year. Schopenhauer could not have imagined the smartphone. He described it precisely in 1818. Now here is the part everyone missed. The online world took Schopenhauer's diagnosis, posted it in dark corners of the internet, used it to justify permanent resentment, and stopped reading. But Schopenhauer kept writing, because the diagnosis was never the point. He asked, given that this is the structure of existence, what do you actually do? And his three answers are the opposite of despair. The first article. Schopenhauer believed that in the moment of genuine aesthetic experience, music that breaks something open in you, a painting that stops time, a sentence that says what you never could, something extraordinary happens. The will goes quiet. For a moment, you are not wanting, not striving, not suffering from the gap between where you are and where you think you should be. You are simply present. The pendulum, still. He wrote, music reproduces all the emotions of our innermost being, but entirely without reality and remote from its pain. Music does not describe your suffering. It lifts you outside it. This is why art is not decoration, not entertainment. It is the only reliable mechanism for temporarily suspending the force that is making you miserable. The second answer, and this one nobody expects from the darkest philosopher in Western history: compassion. Not self-improvement, not optimization, not hustle. Compassion. Here is why, and this is the deepest idea in his entire philosophy. The will that moves through you moves through everyone. Your suffering is not unique to you. It is not personal. It is not proof something went wrong with your particular life. It is the suffering of existence itself, expressing through you, exactly as it expresses through every other person alive. The person you resent feels it. The person you envy feels it. The person whose life looks effortless from the outside feels it. Same pendulum, different swing. When you see that, really see it, resentment becomes harder to sustain. Because resentment requires believing other people have something you were denied, that something fundamentally different is happening in their life. Schopenhauer says, look closer. The pendulum swings for all of them too. And when you see that, what replaces resentment is not happiness. Something quieter, more durable. Recognition, the knowledge that the person across from you is also trapped, also suffering, also doing their best inside a condition neither of you chose. That is what he means by compassion, not sentimentality. Metaphysical honesty about what we share. He also said something about solitude that lands differently once you understand the will. A man can be himself, he wrote, only so long as he is alone. Not because other people are bad, not because isolation is the goal, but because in the company of others, the will gets louder, comparison activates, performance begins, the pendulum speeds up. In genuine solitude, the will quiets. Not permanently, but enough to hear yourself. The person who cannot tolerate being alone, who needs constant noise, constant stimulation, constant distraction, is not someone who loves life. They are someone who cannot face the will directly, who needs the pendulum at full speed to avoid the moment it slows, and they have to sit with what is actually there. Boredom, he wrote, makes beings with as little love for each other as humans seek each other with such intensity. We run toward other people, not always from love, but from the unbearable sensation of the will, with nothing to reach for. Now the final answer, the most radical one. Schopenhauer said, "The deepest liberation from suffering is the denial of the will itself." Not suicide. He was explicit. Suicide does not deny the will. It is the will's most desperate act, an attempt to escape a specific life, while the underlying force remains completely untouched. The denial of the will is something else entirely. It is the choice, made deliberately, to stop feeding the machine, to stop organizing your entire life around the next thing that will finally make you feel complete, to reduce what you need, to want less, not as resignation, as intelligence. You have now seen the mechanism. You cannot unsee it. Every new desire is a new swing of the pendulum. Every acquisition is a pause before the next craving. Every achievement is a door that opens onto another corridor. Knowing this does not make you pessimistic. It makes you free to ask a different question. Not, how do I get what I want? But, do I still want to be governed by wanting? Schopenhauer himself did not fully live this. He dined out. He had affairs. He was proud and difficult and competitive. He said the philosophy. He could not always live it. That honesty is part of what makes him worth taking seriously. He was not preaching from a place of arrival. He was thinking from inside the same trap as you. The diagnosis is accurate. Life swings like a pendulum between pain and boredom. But Schopenhauer did not stop at the pendulum. He asked what it would take to slow it down. Article, compassion, wanting less. 3 answers that the people quoting his darkest lines never reached. This is Philokimi. We will see you in the next one.